Hello, everybody. I am Dr. Randy Weintraub, and welcome to CHE210 Nutrition for this semester. And this is a review, a brief orientation of our syllabus and some of the main points here to be successful and get the most out of our course this semester. You see on the screen here some curious pictures, and we'll be getting a whole bunch of insight into why I chose these to highlight our kickoff of our semester in nutrition. I've been teaching as a senior adjunct instructor at RCBC for 6 years, teaching this nutrition course along with a couple of chemistry courses. I had a career as a research scientist in agriculture chemistry. I'm mainly an analytical chemist and environmental scientist, but background from graduate school in nutrition and also environmental chemistry. I'm a graduate with a master's and a PhD from the University of Florida, the Fightin' Florida Gators. The first thing I want to point out in our course is the importance of reading and referring to occasionally or frequently our class syllabus. A lot of information is there and important to refer to when you have any questions, and maybe to note when you want to ask me some further questions. Some of that, some of those important details I'll highlight in this session here, this recorded session. So as the arrow said there, pay attention to our syllabus, please. In the left bottom corner here, I have a curious logo, kind of ubiquitous FedEx logo. And I have a analogy to push forth with that as we go a little further in our discussion here. Yes, we see that probably almost every day, somewhere or another, FedEx. And the analogy is as we learn about topics, as we go through, hopefully being a lifelong learner, and I like to say this in nutrition also, things are pointed out to us, or we read them, come to some exploration and finding, like what's embedded in this FedEx logo. Once you see it, I don't think you'll ever forget it, and you'll see it almost all the time when you see this FedEx logo. Some of you may be acquainted with this, but let me point this out too, and it was an intentional design. And you can see the FedEx logo on the bottom there with the highlight of the embedded feature. It's an arrow, and now that arrow jumps out at us almost all the time when we look at the FedEx logo. In fact, you may want to point that out to a FedEx delivery fellow or gal, and sometimes you'd be surprised that they say, wow, thanks for letting me know about that, because I've done that on a few occasions. Also, we see more And then we're cued to look at things with a closer, sharper eye, like the Baskin-Robbins logo. And maybe you've picked that out, and maybe you saw that before, but Baskin-Robbins, at least initially, claimed they had 31 flavors of Baskin-Robbins ice cream. You can see the 31 in pink. Maybe just one more of these. Tostitos. We see this logo a lot. Not the healthiest food, but with a healthy salsa, it's not bad in moderation. And if we look at the Tostitos, we can see there are two figures here, 1 and 2, and a little chip there, and a bowl of salsa. So we learned things along the way, and pretty cool things. Now these are trivial, just examples that we make here, things we're going to learn in nutrition class. You may see a bunch of the pictures that I take. I have kind of a weird placemat. It's a periodic table, but that's how you'll know it's my picture. This is one of the concoctions that my wife and I play around with. Here's making tofu, and a very colorful, delicious, healthy dinner. Okay, if you're not familiar with yet, get familiar with Blackboard. That's our go-to for our course. This is, of course, a distance learning course, so absolutely, you have to be familiar and fluent with Blackboard. If not, there are demo videos to watch, and people to ask for extra help if you're unfamiliar with them or having some trouble with Blackboard. Don't hesitate to reach out for help. This is our current Blackboard, and you probably already looked at a couple of announcements that I've posted already, the welcome announcements, and then one for a live session that I postponed to tomorrow. And and then on the left, Blackboard menu with important places to go, Mind Tap discussions in particular, and then looking at grades, and of course the syllabus. So make sure you get familiar with that. Check out what's there. Here's our weekly tasks calendar. You can make use of this calendar. Some things I'll put there, some things that you use also. Other tools, chapter objectives, and then some extra resources, sometimes additional resources. Sometimes I'll refer to them or have something there, or you could just check out what's there. Throw some interesting stuff there, some extras, bonus stuff, or some things that I refer to that I'm asking you to indeed look at. When you click into MindTap Access, you should see this screen, and you should be able to click in there, and I think it prompts you to put in your identification, your email, your course email, and hopefully you don't have any trouble getting into that and signing in. If you do, reach out to me or the bookstore. The bookstore is also in regard to this particular feature here, because you have paid for this in your tuition to have access to this. This is where we have our textbook and activities, most of the activities, not exams. Now when you click one step further into MindTap, you'll see this. You'll see our chapters, You see a bunch of tools on the right side over here. And explore this. So I have here a getting started video that I'm asking you to look at before September 3rd. It's a short video, a couple of minutes, but it's a nice quick overview. And then click through. Now, as far as the activities, they are scheduled for you. You're not asked to and cannot go further into the course. We have a weekly assignment list, so we stay together basically. And just want to mention 3 key points towards achieving your goals and more in this course, and keep you happy in doing these somersaults and all that sort of thing. So I'm going to go through those. Point 1, keep on schedule. So we have 14 weeks of work, and you'll see a folder in Blackboard under weekly assignments, just like this. Week 1, we're just starting today. And it gives you a list of things that we're to finish in the first week. And it says here, get familiar with MindTap, and then watch that getting started video. Read chapter 1. This is an overview of nutrition chapter. Important to give you a nice big picture of what we're covering in this course and this textbook. We mentioned something about the textbook in a moment. MindTap. MindTap is the Cengage, which is the publisher of this textbook. Cengage's learning platform, which we've been using about 2.5 years or so, and we're getting familiar with it more. It is very good. Students have said it's been a great thing in helping you interact and digest the material. Excuse the pun. And in there is a couple of quizzes, embedded quizzes that are just a very small amount of points, but it got toward the grade. I'll mention a little bit about how that adds up, but there are quizzes to make you think about what you're reading. And then there's some other activities, and you'll see these themes repeat in each chapter with something related to the chapter's main content. A closer look, there's an activity there. You might have a little reading or a little watching a short video, and then responding to some questions or some challenges. And most of the time they are revealed, the answers revealed, sometimes right when you're answering the question, and you could check your work. And those are just to have you interact. They're not counting towards a grade. There are some activities, and it'll be pointed out that this is for a grade. And these are small amounts of points, but it puts a little pressure on you to be learning. In fact, there are a quiz and a wrap-up practice test that is timed. You just have 20 minutes to do something like 10 or 15 multiple choice questions, and after you answer, you'll see the answers, but you get scored for that. Again, these are small amount of points, but they do add up. And also weekly, we have a discussion board, which is kind of fun, that everybody interacts, expressing your opinion on something. I try to give an interesting question. You might watch a video and then respond to it, and most of the time, if you put down some reasonable thought, something interesting, something thoughtful, you get the full credit. Again, small amount of points, but they do add up. Most of the time, you will put your post before seeing others, and then you'll be able to see the other posts. And most of the time, I ask you to comment and read one or two and drop a comment, just to keep this class active, that you have others in the class along with you going through this material. And it's fun to see others' responses. And I've seen already, even in the introductions, some nice virtual discussions going on. This is a Blackboard screenshot that you're seeing there, if you haven't looked at that yet, and I hope you jump on that if you haven't yet. Okay, this is from the syllabus, a schedule. We're in week 1, we just started, September 1st. That's the overview and the chapters along the right side. Sometimes we're doing 1 chapter a week. And then sometimes a couple chapters a week if they're closely related. You might have to work a little quicker on those to get through it, but it's a reasonable pace if you're disciplined and put in the time. This is a 3-credit course, meaning the appropriate number of hours of study and reading should be put in for a 3-credit course. Most of the time that translates to 1.5 to 2 times that number of hours you should be putting in, keeping up, and getting the most out of the content that we're addressing. You'll see on this schedule 4 exams. Each of the exams mainly focus on those chapters that have come right before it. Occasionally, and they do, of course, blend in together. A lot of the things you learned in earlier chapters do carry forward, especially the early chapters, that when we look at each of the macromolecules, we've generally discussed about digestion, absorption, and transport, and then we look at it, dive a little deeper into carbohydrates, lipids, and proteins, and then energy. A lot of us really are interested in this part, this energy, and I saw a bunch of the comments in the pre-class survey that we're curious about energy and how does our eating pattern affect our energy. Then we go dive in mid-course. We talk about connecting, the important connection between eating pattern and health, and one very important area is weight management, and we dive into kind of a crisis, not just in the US, but globally, around weight management and overweight, obesity, and what do we know and understand about that? How is it related to eating pattern and other things? Then other important nutrients, vitamins, water, minerals, and then getting toward the end, we talk about life cycle nutrition. That's segments of life, starting with women and pregnancy and lactation, and then go forward in infancy, younger, early childhood years, and then later years. And we put we put put that together again and talk about diet, eating pattern, and health with chapter 18, disease prevention, and then another more food safety related chapter is 19. We wrap up with that. And then we're toward the end of the year already. So that's our schedule. Very important. So the point one, keep on schedule. Textbook readings, mind tap activities and assignments, and discussion board, right? These are weekly activities. Fit them into your schedule and put in the time. Don't let things, pile up. Point two, mind tap. This is our learning platform, especially in this distance learning. A lot of this is, your independent work and the time that you put in. And there's a lot of nice tools in MindTap, this learning platform from Sungage. On the right-hand side, as I mentioned earlier, our toolbar. In the introduction video, they mentioned a few of these things. And you don't necessarily have to use any of these, but they are nice and helpful. This book right here, this opens up kind of more of a normal e-textbook. There's a glossary. There's this, even you have the book read to you in different dialects and speeds. Over here, you could take notes along the way and have your own little, you create a study guide along the way. If you like to make electronic notes along the way, you have a nice feature in there. So get to know some of these things. You could use one or several of them, or none of them. Down here at the bottom right, this is our diet and activity, diet and wellness activity little app. This you'll get to know it. It's introduced in the first chapter, and we use it each chapter. There's something else you do in here. It's a very, very cool app in that you analyze your own eating pattern for a few days. So it's an app where you may have used other apps. This one is pretty good. It's got a nice database attached to it in that you put in all things that you consume over the day and your activity. What do? Do you walk 3 miles? Did you run 4 miles? What pace? Did you swim laps? Did you cycle? Did you do nothing? And it balances your calories and also does an analysis of the nutrients in your foods, compares it to what is optimal, or an estimated optimal amount of each of the elements, each of the nutrients we should be taking in. How low or over are you in calcium? Did you get enough biotin these 3 days? It gives you an average, and you're asked to make these reports, and it gives you a step-by-step procedure to do that. Okay, that's our, hopefully we're not getting a tornado coming through. Okay, so another thing to point out, what else? That's the read speaker flashcards. Pretty nice set of flashcards for each chapter and a glossary. So here's our view, very important. Also here, you have due dates. Some things are labeled practice, and some things are labeled for a grade. So we'll look at that. All right. Okay, so here again, very important to keep an eye on this. Mind tab getting into, and then here's when you open up this part. This is just looking at what we're currently in chapter 1. As you open up these folders, here's applying knowledge. You should have read the chapter, thought about it, and go in order. And then make sure that you do these before the due date. Otherwise, there's only 2 days after the due date, and there's a penalty if you're overdue. About a 20% loss of the points. And you see here the points. So this quiz here is 15 points, and each of the other activities are 5 points. And it's mainly to reinforce and you're applying what you learned in the chapter. That's what these, and to stoke your curiosity. And there are some pretty interesting topics with some videos and nice multimedia, a case study. So each chapter has a similar layout. Counts per grade, counts toward grade. That means, that's what it says, these points do accumulate and do contribute to the Mind Tap portion of the grade, which is 30% of our grade. Right, this is pointing out due date. Watch those due dates. Okay, we start on Mondays, except for this week, but Mondays. But then I allow until Tuesday for the due date, and then 2 days extra if you're submitting or completing it late. And you'll note that, and it'll be clear, when you start one of these quizzes, you have 20 minutes. So you gotta watch your time. Okay, so that was point 2. Point 3, know how you learn best and apply it. Apply those methods. You should be learning how you learn best, multiple ways usually for us all, whether it's a notebook, another notebook on your own, or use this electronic notebook, graphic organizers. Do you do mind maps? Do you do outlines? Do you sketch? How do you learn? So it's worth thinking about that for all your courses, all learning in general. Know yourself and how you master something. And as always, learning something new or mastering something takes frequent, regular reviewing of materials. Most of us learn best when it's active, interactive learning. And that's what the Mind Tab sets for us, some interactive learning. But also, apply what you're learning as much as possible. Apply it because we interact with nutrition and food and activity all the time, right? From the time get out of bed, break the fast, and then throughout the day. So learning styles, think about yours and use it. And then you can't help but applying it to every time we nourish ourselves. So I sometimes have this habit of playing with my food and taking a picture of it. And you might see pictures of those throughout the course. All right, grades. In Blackboard, it always should be up to date, a weighted average appearing in that weighted average column. unless there's something that's gone wrong and I have to fix it, but nothing is lost. I have a backup where I store grades just on in a hard drive, as well as in the cloud on Blackboard. The full grade activity assignments in MindTap will appear. You'll see that in MindTap, but also a running average and a column in Blackboard. Roughly 50 points are available per chapter in MindTap. We have 19 chapters. That comes out to something like 950 points. And available. Most of the time, if you keep up with things, you get most of those points. The main thing is to keep up with and go through it and take those things for grade and accumulate most of those points, because that adds up to 30% of the final grade. So for a single assignment with 5 points, many of them are just 5-point assignments, it's about 0.2% of the grade. So here's, and then the bulk of our grade are the 4 exams, 70%. And there's our translation from averages to grades that you get at the end of our course. Now there's other things in the syllabus, including some important links and things that you have available at the college. You can make use of them. And those are links you just click on and go to these various resources that you have. Okay, advising, struggling with something, financial aid, etc. Even the bookstore, tutoring, and other things. Make use of your resources. That's what we all pay for. Okay, so hopefully this is going to be not just a really important learning experience for you, for your career paths, but also for your knowledge of something that is really critical to how we feel and our quality of life, and you know that it's a lot of truth in that we are what we eat, and hopefully the course will make you more attuned to that and help you get the most out of all our days and your potentials. Look at that spinach. Okay, so nutrition facts will be decoding and knowing how to look at that and what does all that stuff mean there if you don't know that. But I see in the survey many people already look at nutrition facts, think about them. And there's our book. It's a brand new edition, 16th edition. It's a fine book. We've been using it for about 5 years, maybe 6 years at RCBC, and I've met Ellie Whitney a couple of times. She lives in New Jersey, great person. She's one of the authors here. Okay, so this was just a kickoff, an orientation, and I hope you get into it now, and we'll have these occasional meetups, optional, and you'll see many of our videos here as we explore and get into everything as a a good review of nutrition, and at the end, you'll be happy that we've gone through all of this material and make us think more about what we are eating and what we are doing. Okay, that's all for now. Dr. Weintraub signing out. Don't hesitate to contact me via email uh, at any time, and I'll get back to you when I can, as soon as I can.